Alright, this part of the video is going to be the station. So, as you can see, I have previously ballasted the station. It's only gotten about approximately halfway with the second and third area. The first area is actually ballasted all the way to the end of the board, well, where the next board starts. So this is just going to be like what I do with the station, how I'm doing it, what's the plans. As you can see, I'm planning on putting tiles down onto it. I'm going to tile the whole way along. At the back there I have a shop. It's going to be cut in half yet and mounted towards the back of the wall, just to give a little bit of extra variety, as some stations or main stations tend to have shops set up on it around the world. May not be in England, I'm not too sure. But this is going to be how I do it, what I plan to do and how I do it, and I'll show you my method of how I normally do it. So most people tend to use track pins. Actually, where I live here, they're a little bit expensive, and to be honest, I bought a packet. I found it way too fiddly to try put the actual pins in with the hammer, and I just ended up hitting my thumbs, and in the end I had enough of it. So I found a much more easier way of actually doing it. I probably couldn't say if it was more cheaper or not, but in this way, for me, it was more conventional. So I actually get a pin, and then I cut the tip off it, the plastic, and I end up with a little nail. Probably could buy these nails from a DIY shop, but as the shop's just down the road, it's actually more convenient just to pop in there and grab pins when I need them. And the pins is just to hold them in place. So I normally just push it into the sleeper as much as I can, and normally it just holds there. I try to get it as balanced and as straight as possible, and then I just get my hammer and give it a good smack so it goes through the actual metal. As I've got the DCC, I'm not too sure if you can see it, but I'll try to zoom in there, give it a little bit more focus. As you can see, I have the DCC metal under there for extra grip on the steam locomotives. So as you can see, here's my pin here, right, it's half hanging out. I just smash it into about there, and I just get my pliers or my wire cutters and just push them down to that last little piece until it's in, and there's the pin there. You can barely see it. Once it's weathered, you don't even notice the pin. So it's, like I said, these pins have a little bit bigger of a head on it, so it's easier for me to actually hit it with the hammer. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to lay all the DCC metal underneath this, just this track here, as I have a slight slope into the station. So right there is where the slope is. It's a very, very slight slope, but some of the steam engines, when they have too many carriages on, they struggle up. Some make it up fine, some don't. So easier just to uniform it all, put them all on with the metal. You can probably see at the back here as well, I've also got it to here. I'm just going to finish the last little piece off with it, and then I'm going to cover it with ballast. I'll show you how I ballast the tracks. My method of doing it, like I say, it may not be the right method, but it's a fast and simple method, makes a quick job of it, and at the end it looks fairly good. And you know, when you weather it, you don't even notice, so it ends up looking quite good. So even see down here where it's been weathered down here as well. So yeah. Alright, I'll leave it there and I'll show you when I start ballasting. So I've now actually put the metal pieces in. I actually ran out. I only got to there on that one. I couldn't actually get any more underneath that one. I ran out of the DCC concept metal plates. So it will do, I think. The engine more struggles to about here and then it normally goes. So I think it should be right. I might give it a test run before I actually ballast it down, but I'm going to ballast the middle piece anyway first. I tend to work in sections. So this is how I normally ballast it. So I'll try to get the camera best of focus, sorry for the shakiness. So now I normally just use the Woodland Scenic medium ballast, and then my method is I normally just shake it along, shake it around, try to shake it as much as possible. Cobwebs there from a spider obviously that made his home there. I just go along, shake it around, spread it out as best as possible. Not too sure if I'm going to have enough, but I think I'll have enough to do this section. I'll probably order a new one tomorrow. So I just naturally let it fall into the middle section. Now I'm not saying this is the right way of doing it, but this is what's worked for me. It actually gets a large area done in quite a fast time. So like I said, this is probably what a lot of people hate doing this part of the job. But it's one of them jobs that have to be done. It's one of them parts of the jobs that you just got to do. So no, I'm not too sure if you can see, but at the end there I've actually put glue. Just some normal PVA glue. It's just to stop the ballast from falling into the cracks so much, so that it kind of acts like a bit of a barrier. A little bit will fall below, but I'll vacuum it up when I open the hatch up. This actual station section, it all lifts up, so I can actually access the storage area below. I know a lot of people tend to make it with like a small gap they reach their hands in, but I'm not going to be putting my hands through in there trying to pull trains out when they derail and stuff. It's easier just to build a whole section that lifts up. It's on hinges, so that was my method. I've done this method on the first time when I built the layout. It worked perfectly fine. It's just the joins where you join the tracks, you just gotta put there's a few different methods you can use. I haven't actually done a method yet because this is actually really the first time I've gotten to a point that I've actually gotten to a final point that I've actually started to ballast and stuff. And normally when I've needed to access under the tracks, I've normally just lifted these two tracks up at the end here, this one and this one. I normally just disconnect it and lift it up and open the hatch up. This one here, it's got a cut here. I just normally undo the ties, the joiners, the rail joiners, and yeah, as you can see in this here, I've left this gap here in this one here to the left, and the one to the left and to the right, sorry, on camera. And I've left this here as I put a magnet sensor in here for the signals, as I'll end up having signals in these sections for the station. I also have it at the other end where I ballast, but I've already cut away that section of the track, of the tie. I do it now before I actually ballast it, because it's much more easier to do it now before it's ballast. If you do it afterwards, it'll be a pain in the ass. So as you can see, I normally just brush it along, trying to get as much as possible off the actual ties, off the sleepers. And then I just tap it with my paintbrush at the back of it. Normally all settles a little bit, taps it around, makes it settle. I painted grey along the edges of the platform here, and actually along the edge underneath here, as just in case you may see a little bit of ballast or something, you're not going to notice it as much, as it will blend in. So I tried it on this one originally, and you know, there's a few spots where the glue didn't quite dry good, and yeah, it worked a treat just to paint it grey. So yeah, as you can see, it just needs a little bit more ballast here and there. But more or less, this is the technique I use. Like I said, I do a large area, you know, in a space of 5 minutes so far. I've done this whole area. Probably would have done it a little faster if I wasn't talking and I just concentrated on it. But it's nearly done. It's just a small piece here and there missing along this edge here. I'll go along it now. But yeah, but as you can see, that's a fast way of ballasting the track. Just shake it around and put it there. And like I said, I know a lot of people, they really dread ballasting the tracks, but I've found it easy just to spread it out like this. And yeah, I know there's a little plastic thing you can buy that spreads it out evenly, but hey, I'm not into buying little things. It's already expensive enough without having to buy every little gadget out there for every little job. I mean, you've got to find some way of doing it all the time. So like I said, I've just found this is the best technique I've found to do it. As you can see along this one here, it's pretty good. Just needs a little bit down here. You can see it's a little bit grey underneath where the paint is, but like I said, you can barely notice it as the grey hides it as best as possible. You could even paint the whole area underneath it to try to hide any like wood or anything of your baseboard, but I wasn't so worried about painting it. Like I said, I've tied these down with the little tacks, little pins that I showed you. And yeah, so this video is going to be done in a few parts, you know, so it's going to be a big job, you know. Like I've already built the station roof. I built that a very long time ago, but I will actually explain in one of the videos how I built it and what I did, so you can get a better idea. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. So, welcome to the next part. You probably were wondering at the end of the first part, but he hasn't glued it down or anything. That's the next part. So now I've gotten the ballast pretty much how I wanted it. There's a little bit here and there on the sleepers. It's impossible to get it all off. I normally scrape it off. I go through before I weather the track. I'll scrape any bits off with a screwdriver, just to, like I said, just to get them off so they get pretty clean. Like normally when you're gluing it down, you normally get a little bit here and there. So normally what I do is I spray it with the bottle. I have detergent in this water. So like I said, this is how my method is. I make sure my tracks are not turned on, as I don't want any short circuit, as it's DCC. And also, if the tracks are on, you tend to get corrosion. You can get along the tracks, which I definitely do not want. It turns into like green corrosion along the nickel, like the nickel starts to corrode. I learnt this from my first time of doing it, as I made a mistake. I had the power on by accidentally. I ran some trains first, and then I thought, hey, I'll ballast the track, and yeah, I forgot to kind of turn it off. But like I said, you learn from these mistakes. So, like as you can see, I give it a good soaking. I actually have just touched up a little bit along the first section where I ballast this ages ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. It'd be over maybe 9 months ago. So I just haven't had a long break. Like I said, in my intro video that I'm uploading shortly, it's actually been a long process just to get to where I am today. We've actually... So anyway, I've got some PVA glue that's been watered down. I normally just go along the centre of the track. It tends to spread out. As you can see, I just go along, and then along the middle section I just try not to go too much along the middle section because I don't want to see streaks of actual the glue where the water's gone down with the glue. But as you can see, the glue really just spreads out, you know. So I just mix this up myself, this actual PVA. I normally, whenever I get an old bottle, when I get down to about this much with PVA glue, I buy a new bottle, I fill it up with water and I mix it, and that's my new bottle. So it saves me buying scenic cement, as scenic cement is probably alright to buy if you're going to be doing a small layout, but if you're going to be doing a large layout, it's going to become very costly to keep buying it. And I used it on my first lot of ballasting that I did. It worked great. But like I said, here where I live, the hobby shop, or most hobby shops anyway, it's not overly cheap to buy them things, so I opted for a cheaper solution, as a lot of people have done on the internet, as you can see. So I followed the same way of doing it, just trying to cut costs down. As you can see, I have ran out of it. As I've not got an empty bottle yet, I'll just top this one up. But yeah, as you can see, the glue is really spreading out along the tracks and along the ballast, and it's really spreading out into the actual sleepers and through the ballast. So, and normally when I actually fill this up, I actually tend to put the detergent water that I normally mix up into here as well, which helps it spread out a little bit better. So, and then it actually helps the glue to spread out. Actually saves mixing so much up at the same time. So, and I couldn't tell you if it's 100% 50-50 water, 50-50 glue. It's approximately 50-50. It could be a little bit more glue, could be a little less glue, could be a little bit more water sometimes. All depends on how much. If it's too thick still, I will actually, as it looks at the moment, a tiny bit thick, I think it does. So I will actually mix a little bit more water into it, just to thin it down a little bit more. Like I said, I will mix this up until I get to about the right consistency of what I want it. So as you can see, like I said, it's really spreading out good, and it takes normally about 24 hours for it to actually dry. Yeah, this is much better now. I'm a little bit more happy with this now. As you can see, I'm really just soaking it up, so it's completely white, more or less. So I just go over it, and then what I normally do, just to finish it off, I'm nearly out of water now because I've been using it, but I normally just spray a bit of water along it. I'm going to go top this back up, but yeah, normally I just spray a little bit more water along, just to make it a little bit more watery, and it takes about 24 hours for it to really dry, depending on the temperature, as my room is actually heated, as I live in a very cold part of the world. It's heated, so I actually leave my heater on most of the year round. I just turn it down in summertime, so my room actually stays consistently warm. So it's actually so warm at the moment. I'm working with long sleeve shirt on and it's actually too warm. But yeah, as you can see, it's getting there. So I'm just going to go fill up my bottle, finish it off, but I'm going to leave it there for today. And tomorrow I'm going to do the final part, and then I'll show you when it's fully done, the last part. So, thanks.